This is your co-host, Ethan, signing in to the new segment we like to call Two Peas in a Pod, powered by KCROWfm, otherwise known as KCROWfm. I'd like to introduce our co-host, Raun. How you doing, Raun?
Welcome everybody. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome, ladies. My beautiful ladies. Welcome to the one and only, your very own, the world famous, the world's greatest, Two Peas in a Pod.
Two peas in a motherfucking pod.
This ain't your regular podcast.
Never.
This is a segment of KCROWfm, aka KCROW. So we are your two peas in a pod. Got
Indeed.
that two peas in that pod.
We were just talking about, in the previous section, we're talking about dreams like you have while you're asleep.
Right.
But I've noticed that you have this mindset where you have like a very driven kind of mindset that I really appreciate. And I wanted to see, like, where does that necessarily come from? Because, like, I'd be interested to know.
Well, that's a great question, but this driven mindset is still a new phase for me in my development and my evolution.
Right.
Because for a long time I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with my life, and I didn't have that discipline and that mental fortitude to really even get momentum in something that I really wanted to even do. And that's also a part of growing up, because we all do dumb shit and we learn from it and we grow. But
Absolutely.
that was part of my journey, because I used to be pretty immature. I buckled down in a sense, and in the past 2 years a lot of pieces have been falling into certain places, and I've had certain light bulb moments where I've had sparks of not just inspiration, but you could say epiphanies, where ideas have clicked. And I'll not say it's some genius type of activity that's going on in my mind. Everybody has genius in their mind, but I was able to find some sources of strength beyond myself. And also, I also realized, and well, I always knew this, but I was able to truly understand the power of knowledge.
Yeah.
And the power of information, and using it to your advantage. You know, people are given information and data every day growing up, all their lives.
For sure.
But it's about what you do with the information you've been given.
Yeah.
And now I've been able to connect some dots, and been able to focus and find more not only hope, but confidence, abundance, possibilities, all sorts of things like that moving forward that I didn't necessarily have before.
Yeah.
Just because I've learned about, for example, I've become financially literate, something that I was not before, you know.
That's a great skill to have.
Yeah, and just being a little bit knowledgeable in that area.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't learn that kind of stuff in school, and it's good to, like, educate yourself in that language.
Yeah, just knowing a little bit of that will put you way ahead of most.
Definitely.
Because most people are not taught this stuff. We're not taught this stuff in school. So you kind of have to seek the info.
Yeah.
But if you are able to connect certain dots, a lot of these things start to make sense, and you understand the fundamentals, and you can kind of figure out how you want to maneuver through these changing times, as far as not only money goes, but other other ways of having to get through life.
Yeah.
But as far as my drive and discipline goes, I've always wanted to do big things with my life. I've always had big dreams and goals, but I just felt lost for a long time. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I still feel like I have a lot of things I can work on. I'm still young. I'm still kind of immature, so there's still a ways to go. But
I've definitely noticed since I've met you that you've made like much progress that I really appreciate, and I see, like you were saying that you anybody can like gain knowledge, but it's how you apply it.
Yep, for sure.
And it's just building blocks that work your way up to that place that you want to be, because it is kind of like a challenging time, and because it's like it's post-pandemic, kind of easing our way out of that, and that affects a lot of people in different ways. But it can also be a big learning or growth moment, because there are different things thrown in front of us that we can maneuver around, and then that's a new building block on this. I guess it would be a pyramid to the top, which would be kind of like self-actualization at the top, with like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you get your base level of knowledge. Base levels like shelter, food, work your way up. Eventually you get to self-actualization, which is where you find that pinnacle, your peak, where you're fulfilling your purpose.
And that includes not only hobbies, but also being able to give back to the world, and not only people who've been able to help you, but you have so much that you can give back to others.
Exactly.
Who really need the help. You know, that's just a dream for ours. You know, we all want to be like successful philanthropists. We're talking about people who you don't know in places thousands of miles away, who may just need the help more than anybody.
Oh, so you mean like kind of progressing the collective consciousness, not necessarily your immediate circle.
Yep. Because ultimately, look, we are creatures who are, you know, programmed for survival. So we will put our selfish needs first, ahead of most, naturally. But I think that, you know, at the end of the day, we're basically on the same level trying to get up. But, you know, after you get to a certain point of success, whatever your success is, but I would imagine some of that includes financial, monetary success.
Yeah.
You want to give back to people, you know.
Absolutely.
And we see countless examples of that in people, you know, giving back once they've reached a certain level. So.
And then that'll just become a pattern where that person's like, oh wow, they really reached out to me in this time that I really needed, and then it's a down the line. Like the one commercial I remember, I forget what it was, where there was like a dude that like held the door for somebody, and then it would just clip to different restaurants where that person was like, oh, I felt really good about that person holding the door for me, so I'm going to hold the door for the person behind me. And then it's kind of the same situation here.
You know how you see so many of those videos of people doing good on the internet? And, you know, a lot of times people do this just for clout and attention. But, you know, if there's a good intention and a good heart behind it, then I could fuck with it. So I've seen some examples of people, like, handing out, you know, $50, $100 or whatever, or maybe even more to people on the street. Or, like whether just as a gift, or, you know, just with a positive note. Here's $50, you know, believe in yourself, achieve your dreams, keep a positive attitude, you know, just give a note to somebody. I saw a video like that recently. So sometimes they follow to see what these people do with the money, because sometimes they give it to people who really, you know, $50 might be like a lot of money to some of these people.
Yeah.
So especially when they haven't had money for a long time, or they just barely getting by, They're
just getting change off the street or whatever they can.
People who are really fucked in certain ways, you know. With all the respect I can give, but even some of these people who don't even have much are, you know, sometimes they in these videos they follow them to see what they do after they've been given them the money. and they actually go and help somebody else with it instead of buying themselves some shit. And that's amazing. You know, nobody told them what to do with it. They just decide to go help somebody else out directly with the help that they've been given.
So like the person that was given the $50, they go and help their friend that's also struggling, kind of, in a way.
Or let's say it's cool to see how sometimes people who don't have much are still able to give whatever little they have to somebody else who even might need more, who might even have less, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah, man. But real quick to sum up what you had asked me about at the beginning.
Yeah.
As far as driving ambition and having goals and wanting to do more and always, pushing P.
Absolutely.
I get some of it from my dad, but with that being said, I have a long ways to go till I'm on his level,
Same here.
Because I would imagine that the bar is set pretty high, and it's not just about where you go in life or the money or the job or the position or the status, or the standing in the hierarchy, but it's also about, being high level, being of a high caliber and being, you can never nobody's perfect. You can never be truly perfect. Nothing can ever be truly right. But if you can reach the high level, as in where you ask more from yourself and you deliver, you can build a lot of confidence and gain more from that.
Definitely.
And, I see that in my dad, and I'm sure you see that in your dad.
Oh, for sure.
So,
yeah, definitely. It's very inspiring, dude.
So whether it's in our genes or whether we just absorb it from their presence, either way, you got to carry on the good things that you learn and pass them on too.
Definitely.
And also apply them and use that info to become better,
Yeah. I wanted to go like a full circle, kind of back to where you were saying things that we do directly to other people can affect them. And then that kind of circles on. I could also say, we could also possibly say the same thing about if we start working on ourselves, like we hone in on ourselves, necessarily being there's a level where it becomes like egotistical, overtly narcissistic, where you're kind of like affecting people in negative ways. But I think is really a great thing to do, where you're working on yourself, you're actively doing a new thing every day, and actively, like I think in the Tao Te Ching it said to take away something every day, like possibly a negative habit, get rid of something you don't need, which...
I'm sure you've heard the saying about how if you want to change, you want to be the change you want to see in the world.
Definitely.
Something along those lines.
For sure.
So I see a lot of people complaining about what they hate about the world, and there's always something to hate about the world, and me too, I have my complaints and qualms and whatever, but you have to keep a solid fucking mental attitude about this whole thing, because you can blame the world about your mental health, but your mental toughness is only your problem.
Right. And
you have to be strong, because it's mind over matter.
Yeah, and I feel like the more that you keep in your head, like this language that you tell yourself, it could be like negative or like, dang, complaining about, oh my gosh, this dude cut me off in traffic today. I hate when people cut me off in traffic. I feel like that can kind of attract more of that. Whereas if you can like somehow flip it in your head and like whenever you complain once in your head, you just tell yourself, okay, so I hope they have a good day. I'm sure they were just in a rush to go get to work, because I've been in that situation myself. They could be having a bad day, and it's understandable, because there's always there's a lot more positives or things you can be grateful for, since complaining can sometimes, if you think about it logistically, it kind of makes sense in a way, but the more you tell yourself these things or tell other people that, it can rub off on them if they don't know how to like disseminate that, you know, because if you have to put
the good and bad will rub off onto the people around you. So why would you focus more on the bad, you know?
Yeah.
And look, we all struggle with negative, and there's always bullshit around us. That's, you know, when we get agitated, we might flip out on people and people that we love and do some dumb shit.
Yeah.
You know, say some dumb shit. Sometimes. Whatever that may be. But, yeah, keep going, though.
I remember Mod's son, the rapper from California, he would say in his book, it's actually on YouTube in an audio format, but it was originally a book. The book is called Did I Ever Wake Up? And there's part 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's the same thing that we were just discussing, how there's a guy that he gets pulled over and he's like, oh, he just like says to himself in his head before the policeman comes up and like starts talking to him about like, why do you know why I pulled you over and everything? Before he even gets up there, he says in mind, oh man, I really hate having a ticket. Oh man, I don't know what I would do if I got another ticket. But it doesn't matter how many times you say I don't want, your brain and the universe just hears ticket, 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 and that just pushes that more into your reality because words become reality over time.
Absolutely, and it's all about the narrative, you know. This is one thing I thought about earlier. I wanted to add. Yeah, it's all about the narrative that you tell yourself, that you tell yourself about the world around you, you know. And you are the world around you. The world around you is you, because everything is connected on some level, on many levels. So, you know, you have to have a positive self-narrative. When I say narrative, it's like that self-dialogue, you know, it's that voice in your head. You have to, you know, that voice will always sometimes make you doubt yourself, right?
Yeah, self-doubt can be something.
And that voice will make you think, oh no, man, I should give up on that. I don't think I can do that. And you have to push that to the side. And just, you know, even if you don't know you can do whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You have to put that negative, it's you know, because really, man, I don't think it's about the world around you being good or bad. It's about your attitude about the world around you, because it's not the problem, right? It's your attitude or your response to the problem that matters.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't react, respond, or I might have gotten that mixed up.
Because who knows, something even better or amazing could come out of what was originally something even traumatic.
Yeah.
You know?
Like whenever one door opens or one door closes, one opens. Just, it's good to keep like a neutral state of mind, like a content, instead of fully up or down, because if you keep an even keel like neutrally, you won't be disappointed, because like if you see there's like a low point, like say you just stubbed your toe or something like that, like, oh dang, I just stubbed my toe. I mean, that's kind of like a physical situation, but like say back to the getting cut off situation, be like, oh well, you know, that sort of thing happens. I'm not going to be overjoyed about that, but it's good to not like really let yourself loose, because then you have to go back up from that bottom point where you're like, you get pissed off, you start like going off on a rant.
You don't want to be too happy when good things happen, and you don't want to be too upset when bad things happen.
Exactly.
You want to keep it smooth, but at the same time, always be grateful and always keep a positive attitude, because even when bad things happen, there can be something good that comes out of it, or many things that can come out of it. So you learn from those things.
Yeah, always a polarity.
You know? Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of these things, you know, and hyperboles and exaggerations and, you know, and metaphors and whatnot that can be easier said than done, right? But it's all about the attitude and the narrative and your self-dialogue and your mental, you know, because, you know, for example, I'm a big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, one of my favorite athletes of all time. He's a legend.
He plays soccer or football, correct?
Yeah, he plays soccer. Okay. He plays football. You know, he's one of the greatest players of all time. In my opinion, possibly the greatest or the second greatest ever.
Where's he from? Which country is he from again?
He's from Portugal.
Portugal. Cool.
Legend. Absolute legend. He's on the level of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, for those people who don't know soccer. He's on the level of Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps.
Dang.
Tiger Woods, you know, he's on that level.
Sick.
He's actually probably beyond that level. You know, he breaks all kinds of records on and off the field. Like, they asked him, Cristiano, what's your greatest strength? And you would probably think, oh, it's my jumping, it's my speed, it's my shooting power, it's my accuracy, it's my whatever, dribbling, whatever it could be, right?
Naturally.
And he was like, it's my mind. La mente. La mente.
La mente.
Yeah. And I love that, man. Like, if you want to be good at anything, you got to have a strong mind and you got to have a positive mind. You know, shit's going to happen, but you're going to know how to power through the bullshit, too.
Definitely. I like that mantra, la mente.
Yeah, la mente, because it just sounds so badass, you know. I don't even know Spanish like that, but I know that makes sense.
La mente.
Yep. Like mental, you know. It's all about the mental.
Wonderful.
It's fundamental, you know.
I'll remember it that way, too, if I can't remember the la mente, not the mental.
You remember it, man. I'm sure you will. I can show you the interview. Once you see it, you'll know.
For sure. We could even link it in the bio below then.
Yeah, man. It's all about the consistency.
For sure.
And really, and look, it's not only about, you know, grind to your whole fucking. It's not just all about working hard, but it's also about working smart.
Yeah.
You know, you have to work smart.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, you can work smart. I mean, you can work hard, but you have to work smart. And if you are working smart, then you should work hard, because then you can combine the best of everything. But it starts by working smart, aka la mente.
La mente.
La mente, the mind.
Definitely.
And you know, that involves having a good attitude on everything, being positive.
Yeah. Like with the consistency, like you were saying, that is it's not going to happen like overnight, but if you are adamant about keeping that in your mind, like with the la mente mantra, I'm sure it'll just come naturally. Like, more positive affirmations will just arise naturally from that.
You have to. You have to tell yourself a good story about yourself and your life and the world around you, I think.
For sure. Because it's easy to think of, oh man, this is what other people are thinking about the situation or something like that. But most of the time it's kind of like made up in your mind. Like, what was the one Tame Impala quote from the song? I forget what song it was, but it was like, the only one judging you is yourself, nobody else. So it's good to like get that mindset where most people aren't out to like get you or something like that, but it's mostly yourself kind of projecting that out.
Yep.
And it can also create a cycle where that insecurity can be pushed onto other people, and then that person reacts in a way that just divulges into that actual thing that you were thinking somebody else was, but it was just.
Hey, you know, I saw this. I saw this thing online. We see these quotes and whatever, post and all these, but I don't even think I remember exactly how it goes, but it's along the lines of how when you're young, you care too much about what people think. As you get older, you realize that it's none of your business what people think about you. And then when you get even older, you realize that they weren't even really thinking about you at all.
Yeah.
So don't really let outside pressures and people's judgments and, you know,
perceived notions from other people.
Yeah, all of that, you know.
Most people are mostly focused on themselves. And if they choose to join you on your journey and positively uplift you, then it's an even more.
You know what's funny? People are focused on themselves, right?
Yeah.
But and yes, there's a good component to that and there's a bad component to that. Yeah. But they're also focused on themselves in the way they want attention from others. But that's not really even focusing on yourself in a way. You know what I mean? Because if you want to focus on yourself in a healthy way, that must come, like, look, if you are meant to, let's say someone's meant to be famous or meant to have a lot of clout in whatever they do.
Right.
You know, I don't think they should do it just to have a lot of fans and just to be famous. You should be good at what you do.
Yeah.
And then being the fame is a byproduct of your success and your greatness and your competence and your prowess, your expertise at whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So, and, you know, generally speaking, this kind of comes back to how, like, people, there's, like, in my opinion at least, there's, like, two types of fame. One where people are famous and renowned and well-known for being good, proficient, high-level, successful at what they do. You know, obviously a lot of it could just be an image or a front or whatever, but, you know, we always will have high performers. Exactly. And another part of it is people wanting the recognition of these high performers just to have the nice things that come with that.
Yeah.
But
don't go through anything except for the actual action to actually get there. Because
everybody wants to be the fucking man, right?
Definitely.
But who wants to fucking walk through the fire, right?
That's a good question.
So, and look, man, some people just want to make it look like they're walking through the fire just to look badass, just for the approval of others, just to satisfy maybe a certain part of their egos.
Yeah.
And
kind of like fishing in a way.
You know,
hoping for a little bite.
Yeah, and you know, this new generation of TikTokers and Instagrammers and artists and rappers and models and fucking porn stars and hookers and hoes and pros. You know, by the way, if any pros need a manager, get in touch with me and Ethan, because we are, after all, the two peas in the pod.
Hit us up,
yeah, because we can take care of all your needs. And also, you will be taking care of some of ours, but you will be well compensated, and we will make you some stars. We will make you a star, baby. Let me make you a star.
Like that Garden song, call this number now. Call this number now. Call this number now. That's the main lyric I remember from that song.
You're going to have to show me that later.
Dude, it's a really catchy song.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the bio of the YouTube and podcast bio itself.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, I think we'll definitely like divulge into that as we reflect into next week. To sum it up, we did have a lot of really key talking points which we can bounce off of in the coming weeks.
This is the very best, the one and only, the world's greatest. 2 peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod, baby.
This is a pod, a segment of KCROWfm. 2 peas in a pod. 2 real players up in this bitch with 2 peas to that pod.
Indeed.
We will be back for more. But before we conclude tonight, I would like to talk a little bit about how the name came to be, you know, without saying too much. Now, we're big fans of Jay Worthy and Larry June, and they just dropped their new project last Friday, of the same name, 2 peas in a pod. So that was the inspiration of our podcast. And
shout out Jay Worthy and Larry June and all the people that helped put that album together in general.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So
beautiful.
We're just going to be paying homage to these 2 legendary artists from the West Side or the West Coast. You know, we love hip-hop music. We love all music. If you're dope at whatever you do, we love you.
For sure.
If you're real, we love you. You know, this podcast is about the truth. This podcast is about keeping it real.
For sure.
And expressing yourself. And also being tough as nails. Because we're only going up from here.
I ate a bowl of nails without any milk. This is your co-host, Ethan. Sometimes referred to as Ethanos. Don't have all of they're called Infinity Stones, right? Just yet, but we're getting there. And your other co-host.
This is your one and only, your boy Raun, your friend, your player, your P, praise the P.
Indeed.
We're only getting started, ladies and gentlemen. How you feeling tonight, Ethan? Because I'm
feeling pretty good.
Because I'm feeling
I could
fucking
keep going
great.
if we wanted to.
I got some chocolate coconut in my beard. Chocolate coconut chocolate coconut oil in my beard.
That reminds me, I gotta apply some more cocoa butter to my hands, man.
Yeah, man.
We're living, we're learning, loving, breathing.
We're munching on some delicious tender jerky at this moment, but we will not tell you who or where we got this jerky from unless they send us a nice fat bag to promote them on the fucking podcast. Because if you want us to promote you, you need to be P with it. You need to give us that fat check. So, it's the 2 peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod with the 2 peas of the pod. 2 peas of that.
Amen to that.
Amen. Church is in session. Very good, man.